So I want to record this video to show how I ran the dash cam in this 2017 Hyundai Elantra that we picked up used for our son who will be driving shortly. I'm a big proponent of having a dash cam in a car, especially for teenage drivers, because I never want to be in a he said, she said type situation where you got a young teenage driver having to explain themselves up against, a seasoned driver who may or may not be telling the truth. His video never lies. So this is the VIOFO A229PRO. I chose this because it is a 4K camera that also has a rear-facing camera that is 2K. This way you can kind of capture what's coming up from behind you easily, and you're also capturing what's going on in front of you. This version does allow for in-cabin recording. I did not feel the need to record what's going on in the cabin, as I do have a fair amount of trust for my teenagers. And I, again, really want to be focused on what's going on outside the car. So in this situation, I ran the cables. So you got the power, and then the other cable right here is for the rear camera. These are ran up through the headliner. The rear camera wire actually runs through the headliner. I stayed on the inside, like on this side of the airbags, because there are airbags that are in the A pillar and the head curtain all the way back. And then again, this wire runs all the way back through into the rear camera. To accomplish this, to get the headlighter down enough, I did remove the bolts that hold on the handle. I pulled down the little trim pieces with a trim tool to loosen them up. Had to remove the bolts for the sun visor and for the overhead dome console. There's actually 2 screws in here, a trim clip here and a trim clip here. Again, they pop right out with a trim tool, which are readily available for a couple dollars at like Harbor Freight. So again, I ran that rear camera like I said, and the important piece in doing that is I've noticed a lot of YouTube videos which are kind of actually dangerous in what they're suggesting, and they're choosing an easy route and bringing the cable across this A pillar right here underneath the trim, and then following the gasket and then along the edge of the headliner all the way back. Well, that is a very easy route. The problem is you've now put a wire over and across an airbag, which when it deploys may either not deploy properly or is turning this wire that you've placed here into a projectile that may potentially hurt or harm the driver, which is a situation I did not want to have going on. The proper way is, again, to either go across, up through the middle of the headliner like I had done, or to come down the A pillar and then follow the door seam all the way down and back, along the bottom of both doors, then back up. Which I did choose that route in our Subaru, which is behind me, which is our daughter's car, as it was easier to access than going through the headliner. In terms of the power in this situation, I did end up hardwiring this this dash cam to the fuse box. The wire does come down. The A pillar, I did remove this cover. There are a number of videos on how to do that that are already out there, and so I'm not going to go through it here, but this does pop off pretty easily. Unless you're doing something really crazy, there's really not going to be any harm to the airbags or behind it. Again, it comes off and pops off pretty easily. So what I did end up doing, again, as I said, the power came down on the inside here. There is actually a factory wiring harness that comes down here. I actually zip tied the power cable to it, coming all the way down. The wire then sneaks down, and then this plastic piece will pop off with the trim tool. You'll see metal brackets in here that's actually holding the dash all in place. The wire runs through one of the holes in there, and then the fuse box is right behind here. And I have a fuse tap that's in here, and I actually just use one of the empty fuse slots that was in here to find the power, and then used one of the bolts that is behind here to find the ground, which was pretty simple to do. And again, those Hardwire kits, they're on Amazon. They're $10, $12 or thereabouts, but it's an very easy way to provide power. In this situation, I chose to have it only recording when the ignition is on. There are setups where you can choose to have them in parking mode. I was not terribly interested in parking mode, and didn't want to be concerned with draining the battery unnecessarily. And again, my main concern with these cars is, you know, what's happening on the road, not necessarily when it's parked. In terms of, you know, driver's view of these, you know, as I sit here, like if you look in the rear view here, like this camera takes up very little space on that rear view. It's not going to obstruct your view, nor is the camera as it's operating going to be, you know, visible or distracting as you're driving. Because as the point is just to, you know, record what's going on, and if something happens, you have the recording. Otherwise, you don't care what's going on or what it's recorded. As these just continually loop record, so as it's writing, it's overwriting the oldest file, which is going to be, you know, generally hours old or days old, depending on the size memory card you've chosen to put in these. And again, I think these are very cheap insurance for the money, because at the end of the day, video doesn't lie, but people do, and I'd rather have the video, you know, supporting the truth versus, you know, someone's own opinion, which is generally going to be self-serving in the event of an accident or something that has occurred. Hope you enjoyed, and talk to you soon.